How to be seen without begging for attention. You give, you nurture, you lead, but somehow your presence still goes unnoticed. The louder the world grows, the easier it becomes to fade into its noise. But being seen doesn't mean shouting to be heard. It's about the quiet strength that radiates from inner peace. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll understand how visibility begins from within, not performance. Insight 1. Focus on yourself. It's so easy to slip into the habit of proving your worth. You post, you share, you give, and yet something still feels unseen. Many people chase validation not because they need it, but because it has become familiar. It feels like proof that you matter. But what if the truest proof is how you feel when no one is watching? When you begin to turn your energy inward, through quiet self-care, hobbies, or learning something new, you start to fill your own space with richness. Maybe it's spending an hour painting, going for a long walk, or simply reading a book that expands your thinking. These moments, though small, strengthen your sense of self in ways applause never could. Psychologists have long noted that people who immerse themselves in what's called flow activities, those experiences where time disappears, often develop a calm, magnetic confidence. This isn't about being detached from others. It's about being deeply connected to yourself. And something remarkable happens when you reach that state. You stop performing for attention, and people begin to notice your energy without you asking them to. It's quiet, but it's powerful, like gravity. As we move forward, keep this in mind. Visibility isn't earned by seeking it. It begins with mastering the relationship you have with yourself. Insight 2. Know your value. Knowing your value isn't about walking around with inflated pride. It's about standing in quiet certainty. It's the steadiness that comes when you stop needing to prove what's already true. Many people mistake value for visibility, thinking they must perform worthiness or constantly justify their place. But true confidence doesn't ask for permission. It simply exists, calm, grounded, and self-assured. Think of someone in a professional meeting who shares an idea clearly, then pauses without rushing to fill the silence. They don't over-explain or look around for approval. Their presence says, "I've thought this through, and I trust what I bring." That's the power of knowing your value. It invites others to meet you at that level. Behavioral experts often describe this as non-reactive confidence. It's a form of self-assurance that doesn't fluctuate with someone's opinion or tone. You remain centered, not because you think you're better, but because your worth isn't up for debate. When you understand your value, you naturally teach others how to treat you. You begin to set the tone for respect, not through demands, but through consistency. And in a world where so many people try to be seen by doing more, the ones who are truly noticed are those who simply are. Self-assurance, not self-promotion, is what builds lasting recognition, and it starts quietly within you. Insight 3. Stop idealizing others. It's natural to admire people who inspire you, but the moment admiration turns into idolization, you start to lose sight of yourself. Comparison quietly whispers that someone else is ahead, better, more deserving. And without realizing it, you begin to shrink, not because you lack anything, but because you've placed them too high in your mind. When we see others as flawless, we distort reality. No one moves through life untouched by fear, doubt, or mistakes. Even those who seem perfectly composed carry stories you'll never see. Recognizing this truth doesn't diminish their greatness. It reminds you of your own. Try this. Think of someone you deeply respect. Instead of focusing on what makes them different, list 3 human qualities you share with them. Maybe compassion, resilience, or curiosity. You'll notice how this simple act levels the field. It brings balance back to your perception, reminding you that admiration doesn't require self-erasure. Psychologists often note that genuine confidence grows when we stop measuring and start connecting. When you release the mental habit of comparison, your self-respect naturally reawakens. The truth is, visibility doesn't come from chasing someone else's light. It comes from nurturing your own. Consistency in your growth, not competition, is what allows people to truly see you for who you are. Insight 4. Consistently produce high-quality work. There's something deeply powerful about quiet consistency. In a world that celebrates quick wins and instant recognition, true credibility is often built long before anyone is watching. The hours you spend refining your craft, improving small details, and showing up even when motivation fades, that's where real influence begins. Excellence doesn't shout, it simply performs, over and over, until it can't be ignored. Whether you're leading a team, teaching a class, or running a small business, people eventually remember not the noise you made, but the reliability you offered. Research from Harvard Business Review shows that consistent performance earns more respect than occasional brilliance. People trust what they can depend on, not what dazzles them once. That's why it's better to focus on steady progress than on validation metrics like likes or applause. Think of a gardener tending her plants. She doesn't check daily for blossoms. She waters, prunes, and trusts the process. Your work deserves the same quiet patience. Each project, report, or conversation you handle with care builds a track record that speaks for you long after you've left the room. In time, this steady excellence becomes its own magnet. You won't need to ask for attention. Your work will carry your name forward naturally, with grace and quiet authority. Insight 5. Communicate your achievements with tact. Many people hesitate to talk about what they've accomplished, worried it might sound like boasting. But silence, over time, can hide the value you bring. Visibility isn't arrogance, it's clarity. It's finding the right balance between confidence and humility, between look at me and look at what we achieved. The most graceful way to share success is through contribution. For example, instead of saying, "I handled the project alone," you might say, "The strategy I developed helped the team meet our goals 2 weeks early." That small shift turns self-promotion into a story of shared progress. Research in organizational psychology shows that people who communicate their impact with transparency and gratitude are perceived as more trustworthy and capable. Tone matters. A calm voice, steady eye contact, and genuine appreciation for others' roles can make your message land with respect instead of resistance. You might think of it as shining light, not on yourself alone, but on the path that others helped you walk. When you frame your achievements as part of a collective win, you uplift everyone involved. So don't hide the good work you do. Speak it with grace, with context, and with gratitude. Because being seen isn't about standing apart, it's about illuminating the effort that connects us all. Insight 6. Demonstrate your value proactively. True visibility often begins before anyone asks you to show up. When you take initiative, not out of pressure, but from genuine engagement, you naturally stand out. Anticipating needs, solving small problems before they grow, or simply offering support when others hesitate, all communicate something powerful. You care and you're invested. Think about moments like streamlining a repetitive process at work, mentoring a newer colleague, or volunteering to help with a committee that aligns with your skills. These aren't grand gestures, yet they reveal dependability and quiet leadership. People remember those who make things easier, smoother, and more meaningful for others. Leadership psychology consistently shows that initiative signals both confidence and reliability. When you act without waiting to be prompted, you're sending a message of trustworthiness, that you can be counted on to move things forward thoughtfully. But this doesn't mean overextending yourself or saying yes to everything. True contribution is intentional. It respects your capacity while still stretching your potential. Over time, these small acts of proactive value create a ripple effect. They build your reputation, not through self-promotion, but through steady proof of who you are. When you step forward with purpose and sincerity, recognition doesn't have to be chased. It follows naturally and quietly. Insight 7. Share your expertise. Visibility expands when you contribute, not when you compete. Sharing what you know, through mentoring, teaching, or simply offering insight where it's needed, builds credibility faster than any title can. When your knowledge uplifts others, people begin to see you as someone of substance and reliability. There's a clear difference between guarding information and growing with it. Holding back out of fear that someone might surpass you only limits your own growth. True influence comes from generosity, the kind that says, "I want more people to succeed, not just me." In today's world, thought leadership often grows from transparency and openness. Think of professionals who regularly post helpful advice on LinkedIn, or those who create short tutorials that make others' work easier. They're not shouting for attention, they're offering value. And that quiet consistency earns trust. And trust is what sustains visibility. Research in communication studies highlights that those who share their expertise generously are often perceived as more competent and approachable. It's a win for both confidence and connection. When you make a habit of passing on what you've learned, your presence begins to speak for itself. Because consistent generosity and knowledge doesn't just make people notice you, it makes them remember you and respect the light you bring to others. Bonus point: help others first. If you've stayed with me till now, this is my thank you. The most magnetic people are those who lead with service. When you offer help, introducing someone to an opportunity, supporting a colleague through a tough project, or guiding someone who reminds you of your younger self, you create visibility rooted in kindness, not ego. Sociologists call this social capital, the trust and goodwill earned by genuine contribution. Studies show that those who give without expectation often build the most enduring networks. People remember not just what you did, but how you made them feel supported and seen. Helping others doesn't diminish your shine, it amplifies it. It communicates that your confidence is abundant enough to extend beyond yourself. Service softens authority, turning influence into connection. And when your actions consistently uplift others, you don't need to announce your worth. It becomes self-evident. Grace and generosity are never invisible. They echo quietly through every interaction, leaving behind a warmth that lingers long after the moment has passed. If this message spoke to you, write "quiet confidence" in the comments. You're part of a thoughtful community of women who grow through reflection, not noise. Your words and engagement don't just help the video, they strengthen the circle of women choosing presence, purpose, and power over performance. Thank you for spending this time with me and for being part of this journey toward deeper confidence and self-respect. If this message resonated with you, please like the video. It helps it reach someone who might need these words today. Subscribe for more daily insights on personal growth, quiet strength, and inner presence. And if someone close to you could use this reminder, share it with them. There's another video waiting for you on your screen. See you back here tomorrow.